Alrighty, everyone. So welcome to segment 2 of the State of the Stream Address, for January 2020. In this segment, I'm going to explain in detail what has been going on with me behind the scenes in 2019 and, of course, here in early 2020. Some stuff that I've never publicly talked about before. In reality, some stuff that I did actually talk about before, but then never kind of brought up again or never gave more details about. Sadly, there's some third-party information out there going on that's very misinformed and or is only half information and not the full story. So what I need to do is tell you guys everything going on with me so that you understand the whole situation, okay? So here we go. Let's talk. You're going to hear it from my mouth, not from someone else. And in fact, I'm going to give you exclusive information right now that no one knows at all so that it's already out there in public and people know what's going on rather than it be some kind of horse shit, okay? All right, here's the truth of the matter, guys. Last year, I already told you on this podcast, part 1, you can go back and watch it if you want to, but that 2019 was a really bad financial year for me because of plummeting ad revenue on YouTube and really no way to make up for it. Even though my revenue on Twitch went up, because my ad revenue went down on YouTube, basically when it became like February, March, there was really no other way for me to make ends meet and pay all the stuff that I had as a financial obligation in my name. Now, I have a lot of debt in my name, insane amount of debt in my name for various reasons. Obviously, we could talk about those reasons, but I'll just summarize. Well, I was making a lot of money on YouTube for a few years when I lived in Connecticut. I wanted to get the hell out of Connecticut because I hated living there. And I wanted to kind of start my own kind of a life somewhere where I felt that it would be better for me and to start a family somewhere better than Connecticut and to have a business that was running better than what I could do at that condo back in Connecticut that I used to live in. And so I ended up moving to Washington State in 2014. So that was over 5 years ago now. I seriously do not whatsoever regret the move. The move itself has done nothing but positive things for me. My health is better now than it's ever been before. I lost a ton of weight. My back is feeling much better than it used to when I lived in Connecticut. I'm eating so much healthier. I stopped drinking horribly like I was at one point in my life. I met my wife. We have such an amazing life here. The weather is better. The taxes out here are much better than they were in Connecticut. My office, I have an actual room, which you could consider a studio/office that I broadcast out of every day that is way more professional than anything I used to do back in Connecticut. So many huge positives out of the move, right? But one of the big negatives of the move was the amount of debt that I incurred doing it because I basically emptied out my savings account when I did it, plus spent a ton of extra money on top of that. Financing everything in there. And, I'm not going to break it down to individuals of what I spent and stuff like that because I couldn't even remember at this point. But, we're talking not only qualifying for and affording this house, including a very hefty down payment, but the cost of the move itself, moving all the stuff across the country was exorbitantly high, like ridiculous amount of money, furnishing this house, and doing all that. Now, the truth of the matter is, yes, I could have probably made way better financial decisions, and I will tell you right up front, 1,000,000% yes, I way overspent because I was estimating what I was spending basing on what I was making at the time. Now, keep in mind, I've told you guys about this. In 2015, out of nowhere, I lost a ton of my revenue on YouTube because the trolls fucked with my channel with false copyright strikes. I was forced to remove a bunch of videos, which reduced my channel's views by some million. I think it was like 3 million views had to be deleted because I had to delete all the pre-stream videos on my channel. When I did that, YouTube removed DSP Gaming from search rankings, and from then on, it was just nothing but a downward trend. My whole YouTube presence was completely dwindled because of this malicious attack against me in 2015. Now, there are many other factors also that factor in, but that was the one definitive factor that financially, that was the beginning of the screw job for me. Like, that was it. Once that happened, I knew things were going bad because I had overspent when I had moved out here. And now my income that I was depending on to pay off all these debts that I had incurred had gone away. Now, in addition to that, more stuff happened behind the scenes, some of which I've touched upon. But one of the horrible things that happened was that my aunt, who had been living at my condo in Connecticut for about 2 years after I moved there, passed away unexpectedly. We didn't expect that was going to happen. I mean, she was elderly, but she wasn't to the point where we thought she was just going to pass away out of nowhere, and she did. So that was someone who was living there and was giving me a little bit of income, basically, for that condo. And now I had nothing, zero, okay? So essentially what happened was, not only did I get completely screwed over financially by the trolls, then a family member passed away who was also providing me additional income. So it was like the double thing happening at once, and it doubly screwed me over, okay? I've basically, for the past 3 to 4 years, done everything I possibly can, overextended myself in every possible way financially to try to make ends meet and have stuff keep going. Now, you guys see, you look around, there's nothing that I've spent money on. There's nothing extravagant here going on in my house. You notice I'm wearing, look what the shirt I'm wearing, a shirt from 2009. There's nothing crazy going on. I'm not blowing money on anything. There's nothing, it's basically, it's all debt. It's debt that I have incurred in my past, that I way overspent in the past, and was hoping that I'd be able to pay it off moving forward, and it didn't happen because of the troll activity and my aunt passing away and losing so much income as a result of those two major factors, okay? There's way more stuff that happened in between that I'm not going to discuss. We're not going to dwell upon other things in my past that people try to talk about and hypothesize about, because it's all horseshit usually. There's a few factors in there that I'd rather not talk about because they're painful to me and things that happened in the past, so we're not going to do that, okay? But what I'm going to tell you is, in general, things got really bad for me financially, okay? But over the years, I always found a way to juggle things, whether it was transfer this balance over here, take a loan out now to pay off these balances, but now I got to pay the loan. Oh, crap, well, guess what? Now I didn't make enough money, so now I have to rack this back up, which what I paid off with for the loan. So essentially, the debt just got worse and worse and worse. And every single time, I swear to you, every single time that something went in my favor and it looked like I could finally get ahead or catch up, something else crazy would happen behind the scenes that would now be a ton of money that I have to dump into something else that I didn't know. I mean, a perfect example of this was in 2017, when I was actually finally kind of getting back financially on my feet a little bit, and then I find out that my tax attorney back in Connecticut screwed me over and did my taxes wrong for 3 straight years, and now I owed thousands of dollars to the state of Washington for a business and occupation tax that I didn't even know existed since the time that I had lived here. And that's just like one of the things. One of the many things that happened to me over the course of all this time. So, in reality, has anything horrendous happened to me in the last 2 years or so? Actually not, but it's just all the leftover shit from the past. I've never caught up. I've always been behind on taxes. I've always been behind on a payment. I've always been behind. And this last year, 2019, was finally the year where basically the crap hit the fan. To the point where I didn't have enough money every month to pay my bills, and every single month my bank account was becoming overdrawn because I didn't have the money in there to pay stuff. And so what would happen is, some months the money would overdraw and the bank would clear it and say, okay, we'll pay those payments, and they would charge me these crazy overdraft fees. And that actually was like maybe the first few months, like I'd say maybe like March, April, May, June. That's what happened. Then all of a sudden my bank decided, we're not even going to clear the payments anymore. Not only are we going to say, oh, you tried to overdraw and we denied the payment, now we're also going to hit you with the overdraft fee on top of it anyway. So they weren't giving the money, and they were still charging me the money on top of it because the payment had bounced. So, man, it was just a bad situation. My whole life, a horrible situation that I was in. And really what happened earlier in 2019 was I had already been having the conversation with my parents about going out there to visit them, because in all reality, I've always been upfront and honest with all of you, and I never lied about this. My parents are not in good health, all right? My mom has multiple health issues to the point where any day she could take a turn for the worse, and then she's on borrowed time. My dad is starting to have health issues now that are very worrying. I'm not going to tell you guys what the health issues are because it's none of your business. But basically, yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that really the worst hasn't really happened. But at any moment, the worst can happen, okay? And we all know that. Like, we've known that for years with my parents. So my parents said, we want you to come visit us because we want to meet Kat, who at that time was not my wife, but she was my fiance. We want to meet Kat. We want to spend some time with the both of you. We want you to kind of have maybe a day or two to yourselves away from all that stress that you tell us about. Every day you tell us about how stressed you are about money and everything. And we want you to just come out here and have some time to yourselves and have a good time. So this had already been a conversation that I had with my parents over 2018 and early 2019 that we were going to go visit them at some point. And I was looking for like, what's the best time that we could visit them where it's not a ton of game releases and stuff. And it just so happened it would have been like March or April of 2019 would have been one of the better times. Now, all this was already going on behind the scenes, okay? Well, all this was already going on. Kat and I, got engaged and we're looking to get married, and we knew we had no money. We knew that we had no way we could have even a real wedding. What we were talking about was we were just going to have a very small ceremony. We go to the Justice of the Peace. We get married. Maybe one or two of our friends from here in Washington comes and attends with us. Maybe we just go out to a nice dinner for ourselves, and that's it. That's the end of it. Okay, nothing else, because can't afford anything, right? So while we were having all these conversations, about all of this, my parents even suggested, they said, you're talking about getting married. Did you ever consider about maybe coming out here to get married? Because we're already talking about you two visiting. And while you're here, maybe we could do two birds with one stone. You visit us, but also then have an opportunity to get married in a family setting. Obviously, my parents are like, we're not rich. We can't afford to do a giant wedding or nothing. But what we could do is maybe see if a couple of relatives are available to come by, and we could do a nice little ceremony here at the house, and then maybe have a nice dinner. And we were like, wow. That's really amazing. That's a really great opportunity, because we had never thought that anything like that would happen. We always thought we're going to get married. It's just going to be us rushing and doing like a little Justice of the Peace ceremony here with nothing, right? Just almost like a normal day. So we jumped on that opportunity. Now, the thing is, already I was in bad financial stress. I already was at a point where the only reason that I wasn't insanely badly off financially early in 2019, as I told you guys, was because there was this guy, Emerald7, who late in 2018 gifted a ridiculous amount of tier 3 subscriptions to me on stream, which gave me a ton of extra money. So essentially, Emerald7 made it possible for me to be able to go to Connecticut. If Emerald7 hadn't done that, I basically wouldn't have been able to do it. So I have to tell you, whoever Emerald7 is, thank you. Like, no exaggeration, you're probably the main reason why I was able to get married in 2019. I don't know who you are, but you positively impacted our lives in a really, really positive way. And I want to say thank you sincerely so much for that, because it was such a great positive time in our lives. And you probably don't even understand how much of a positive impact you had on us. So thank you so much for that. Okay. All right. Now I'll try to get the tear out of my fucking eye and concentrate on what I need to talk about. So the thing was, I had already told you guys that I was going to be going to Connecticut to visit my parents, but I knew behind the scenes financially, everything was falling apart. I knew the Emerald7 money was running out, and that basically by going to Connecticut this week in April, that it was going to hurt me big time financially. It's a week without income, right? And I knew coming back, basically, I was already behind on stuff, and I knew coming back, this was going to put me in a position where, like, I'm kind of screwed. At the same time, I knew it was worth it to see my parents and get married. It was worth it, okay? And so, the big crisis that I had when I went out there was that I needed to make this payment to get caught up on taxes. Not really get caught up on taxes, because I hadn't paid any federal taxes that entire year. I couldn't afford it. And that basically, in order to qualify for what the federal government calls a payment plan to pay off back taxes you didn't pay during the year, I needed to make a significantly large payment of money to them to qualify for this payment plan. And so you guys actually helped out with that. If you guys remember, I had done this big stream event before I gone out there to raise money to help with taxes. And then when I was out there in Connecticut, had a nice ceremony with my parents and everything, that they paid for 100%. They paid for the flight. They paid for the hotel. They paid for the rental car. They paid for basically everything we did out there, because we had no money. We had zero. They paid for absolutely everything while we were out there. And then, my parents, as a wedding gift, gave me enough money to make up for the deficit and pay the down payment so I could qualify for the back federal taxes payment plan and not basically have my stuff in jeopardy. Okay? So that was very nice of them. I mean, I'll be eternally grateful. They gave us a great wedding, even though it was a small thing. It was better than nothing, better than anything we would have been able to do. And it was amazing. Now, the whole time that was happening, I had to keep all that secret from you guys. I couldn't tell you about all that stuff that was going on, because if I had told you, these shitheads would have ruined everything. They would have tried to screw with the flight. They would have tried to screw with the hotel, screw with the rental car, screw with my parents and everything. They would have tried to fuck the whole thing over. And I couldn't take that risk. That's why I couldn't tell you guys about us getting married or anything. But of course, the idiots spin it as, oh, it's because Phil's lying about all of it, and he paid for all of it with your money. He did a fundraiser that was a lie, so he could pay for the wedding instead of the taxes, which is ludicrous of nonsense. But again, how do you disprove when they make something up like that? How do you disprove it? I can't. So they think it's fact. One of the big negative things of 2019, they said that I'm a liar and I scammed all my fans and stuff like that, when that didn't happen. Okay. So when we came back. Well, let me take this back. When I was in Connecticut, and the last conversation really that went down with my parents after we'd been married and everything was, what the hell am I going to do to salvage my life? Because financially, my life has fallen apart. I'm in insane debt with 2 mortgages, insane amount of loan and credit card debt. I've got all this stuff creeping up. I mean, I can't make my monthly payments on half the stuff, to the point where now, it's so bad that I'm being overdrafted every month and everything. What do I do? And basically, my mom sat me down and said, you got to understand, you're at a point in your life now where something's got to change. And there's concrete things that have to happen to change in your life, because if you don't change them, you're going to be fucked for the rest of your life. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose everything. So even though you don't want to do this stuff, you're just going to have to do it, okay? So at that point, we laid out a plan, okay? We laid out a plan for us of what we needed to do, okay? And hold on, I'm just trying to see, because there's no mods in the stream chat right now. Okay, everything seems fine. Okay, good. My mother and I laid out a plan for last year of what I was going to do, and then we laid out kind of a long-term plan. The long-term plan I made public to you guys. The long-term plan is very simple. I know I can't stream full-time forever, and what I need to do is find a way to get myself financially sound, so that I don't have to stream 6 to 7 days full-time a week to raise so much money to pay all the debts that I owe, that I can now maybe within 3, 4, 5 years be better off financially. So now I can say, okay, I'm going to split my time. I'm going to maybe get a part-time job over here in real life. I'm going to split that with streaming, and then eventually integrate it so it's more of a half and half deal. Maybe long-term, even switch it so that it's more of all about being in real life work and then having a little bit of the online thing. But whatever it is, okay, it has to change, because there's no way that I was going to financially be feasible doing this forever with the amount of debt and everything that I put myself in. So that's the long-term plan. Plus, we all knew, let's all face it, how many years am I going to stream full-time? Till I'm 70? You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to last. Maybe at most, I would say maybe a decade. I could do this, keep going. But after another decade, how many people are going to care about this, right? You're going to forget about me. So I know that. So, truth of the matter is that I need to find a long-term plan to change things. And that's what I started working on immediately when I got back here in 2019. All right. Now, this is all the information you guys have no information about. You didn't hear a word about this yet until today. I'm going to start giving you new information about stuff so that you know what's exactly happened in 2019 behind the scenes. If you don't care about this, you don't have to watch it. It's nothing to do with my streams or anything, but this is stuff that's been going on behind the scenes that I feel I should share with you because it's very important. Okay? So, the day I got back from Connecticut, I stopped paying my mortgage in Connecticut. That is the condo that I owned in Connecticut. That's the place where I used to film and do all that stuff. I stopped paying it, all right? I contacted the mortgage company at that time, and this was April of 2019, and I said, I can't pay this anymore. This is ridiculous drain on my finances. It's a condo that my aunt can't live in anymore because she passed away. I can't rent it. I've tried to find renters. I can't find any reliable renters to rent this place out. My parents can't deal with being renters in this place. They're elderly at this point and they have health problems. I basically can't afford the condo anymore. So I need to talk to you, the bank, about what are the options that we can do, because I cannot make this payment at all anymore. And I need to know what we do moving forward, okay? So the good news is I had a big payment that I stopped paying. Now the bad news is the only thing that I could stop paying was the mortgage. I still had to keep paying the stupid condo association fees over there, which were over $400 a fucking month. I still are paying them now. I was stuck doing that because just anyone knows how this works. Legally, when you have a mortgage on a property, you are responsible for everything, okay? But let's say, for example, the mortgage is held by a bank. The bank is technically responsible for doing things like paying the property taxes, insurance on that unit, etc. But if there's a condo association involved, you're still legally responsible to pay for it until that property is no longer in your name. So even though I said I can't pay the mortgage anymore, all right, I still had to pay the condo fees all year, okay? So, it sucked. I had to keep paying these condo fees every month. But I stopped paying the mortgage, and that at least helped in some regard, okay? And I tried to work with this mortgage company for 4 months. They asked me for every possible piece of information. Give me this financial document, that financial document. Show me how much you make. Show me how much you owe. Show us this, show us that. I'm no kidding. Behind the scenes of me streaming, every night I was working on this for hours. Like, it was insane. It was ludicrous the amount of work I put into this, working with this fucking bank, okay? This went on for 4 months like this. Okay, so it was April, so May, June, July, August. Yeah, I'd say about August, September. Finally, I get a resolution from that. And the resolution is, well, we have all these assistance programs, and you qualify for none of them. We can't give you any kind of mortgage payment assistance. We can't give you anything like that. In fact, there's actually something called deed in lieu of foreclosure. If you don't know what that means, what it means is that basically the mortgage company who holds the mortgage on your property says, we agree to accept the property as payment for the rest of this mortgage, and we just leave it at that. We will not foreclose on the property. There'll be no suing or legal proceeding at all. We'll just call it even and take the property, okay? They tell me after 4 months of me providing documents and everything to them, we can't qualify you for anything because the condo in Connecticut is not your primary residence. If that had been where you were living, you would have qualified for everything, and we could have talked about all these different options, but because that's your secondary property and you live in Washington and that's your primary residence, you qualify for nothing. And I'm like, so I spent 4 months sending you all these documents, and you're telling me I qualify for nothing. And they said, yes, okay. I said, so what's the next step? We want you to short sell your property. All right. So for those of you who are longtime viewers of mine, I've already talked about this. I did try to short sell my property back in 2017. Okay? I did. I actually contacted a realtor in Connecticut. They put the property up for sale. They made it look nice. They actually had multiple people coming and look at it. They had a cash offer for this property. We brought that information and gave it to the mortgage company, and the mortgage company denied it and said this house is not eligible for short sale because the loan type that I had was a federal it's called, I believe it's called, is it FDA? It's a special loan. It was the first house I had ever bought. I bought it in 2009. And because of that, I had qualified for special assistance from the government where the down payment was much less than a normal mortgage because it was my first time. It was like a first-time home buyer special deal mortgage that I did through the government, okay? So after doing all that work in 2017, again, that was like 3 or 4 months of work in 2017, trying to short sell the property, I was told by the mortgage company, you can't short sell the property because it's under this special loan. You can't do it. Here we are in 2019. For 4 months, I'm working with the mortgage company. They tell me you qualify for nothing. Short sell the property. I said, I can't. You denied me 2 years ago. If I would be the laughing stock of Connecticut if I tried to go to a realtor now and said, I had this property up for sale, had a cash offer. It was denied by the mortgage company 2 years ago, but now the mortgage company is telling me to try to short sell the property again. There's no way a realtor would even agree to it. The realtor's not going to go out there and do hours and hours of free work, pro bono work, to put the property up for sale, get a buyer, get it lined up, just for you to fucking deny it again because you're idiots. So I presented all that. I even had the letter, the denial letter from 2017, when they had denied the short sale then. I sent that directly to the mortgage company saying, you're so stupid, you don't even keep your own records from the letter you sent me 2 years ago denying me this, okay? So after that, I send that to them, and they say to me, okay, we'll take this under consideration. We'll get back to you, okay? Now, in the meantime, I'm not paying the mortgage. I can't anymore. And the truth of the matter is, even without paying the mortgage, still every month I couldn't afford stuff. Because I told you, really the only reason I was keeping stuff afloat was that Emerald 7 money. that had come in from all those subs last year. And after that money dried up, that was the end of it. You know, that I couldn't afford anything. So every single month, I'm overdrafting on my bank account. I'm barely making ends meet. There's credit cards and loans going unpaid. And basically, I have no money. Even though I'm not paying the mortgage, I'm using that money from the mortgage that I'm not paying to pay the basic stuff, to buy games for the streams, to pay the utilities. There was one month when it was actually the internet bill didn't get paid on time, and they called me. I was like, oh fuck, the internet's gonna get turned off. So I had to really finagle some money around quickly to pay them quickly so that I could keep the internet on. It was a nightmare. The whole last year, all right, was a nightmare. Okay, the whole fucking last year was a nightmare because of this stuff. All right. So, all that going on. Okay. All that going on. And finally, the mortgage company just stopped talking to me. Okay. Just completely and utterly stops talking to me. And I'm like, well, this sucks because I wanted to work with them. I wanted to figure out what was going to happen, you know, with the property. And all of a sudden, about a month later, I'd say this is probably around September-ish, I get a letter in the mail. Oh, got some news for you. Your mortgage company sold the mortgage off to another company. So you no longer talk to that company anymore. You have to work with a new company. What? I was like, what? You gotta be kidding me. So I worked with this mortgage company for 5 months. So April, May, June, July, August, September. They stopped talking to me and then sell the mortgage off to a third-party company so they don't have to deal with it anymore because they know I'm not paying it anymore. Okay? So I find out, I do some research, and I find out this new mortgage company specializes in foreclosures. This is what this mortgage company does. They buy bad debt, and then they foreclose on the houses. They sell the houses, and then they try to sue people to make up for the money that they didn't get from the sale of the house and what was remaining on the mortgage, okay? So in particular, in my situation, I'm pretty much screwed and out of luck because my mortgage on the house is still around $100,000. That house, that condo in Connecticut is only worth about 60 grand on a good day. Actually, units there have now been selling for around 50 grand. So you're talking like a $50,000 fucking deficit, okay? Between if they sold the property and what I owe on the mortgage. That's insane. Think about that. In 2009, the property was valued over $100,000. 10 years later, it's less than half. That's how bad. I keep telling you guys how bad it is in Connecticut. That's how bad it is in Connecticut. That's why I had to get the fuck out of there. The whole place is broken down and falling apart. Everything is being devalued. Everyone's trying to get the fuck out of there when they can. That state is falling apart and no one wants to live there anymore because of this shit. Okay? So you're right. As ludicrous as this sounds, I'm paying condo fees of over $400 a month on a condo that's not even worth $60,000. God's honest truth. That's how insane this situation is. I basically got the worst real estate situation possible, okay? So, I talk to the new mortgage company that now holds the mortgage on my condo in Connecticut to find out what's going on. And they say, well, we have all these fun assistance programs and things you can qualify for. Send us all your income documentation. I said, get the fuck out of here. I didn't qualify for it with the last mortgage company. Why would I qualify for it with you? So we had a conversation, a very honest conversation with one of the reps there. And they said, chances are you're not going to qualify for anything. Is there anything you can do to pay this? I said, no, as it is, I'm overdrawn on my bank account every month. There's no way I can pay the mortgage. They said, then we're going to have to foreclose. I said, then do it. What else can you do, right? So basically at that point, this was months and months. This was like September, October. They began foreclosure proceedings, okay? Now hold on a second because I want to make sure I didn't miss anything before I tell you about the next part of the story. Okay. So, when all this was going on, all right, I knew behind the scenes of me streaming and everything, where I was trying to be happy and everything, I knew financially my life was getting fucked. And I was like, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get sued. They're going to basically sue me for whatever the difference is between what they foreclose the property, they sell the property, whatever the difference is, they're going to sue me for. I have no money to pay it. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to take my house. They're going to try to do all this shit, right? They're going to basically ruin my life. So I said, let's see what can we do. So I started considering different options and things and started talking with various different people. And basically I had a backup plan / a new plan for moving forward. And I started working on that since the summer of 2019. Okay. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Problem was, all of my bills, my credit cards and everything were screaming at me, we're going to put you in collections, we're going to do this if you don't start paying. So basically, every month I was trying to maintain minimum payment on everything to keep everyone happy, all right, and not have everyone trying to rip my fucking head off and sue me for money I owed them, while I was still trying to maintain the business, buying the games for the business, paying the internet, paying the electricity, all that stuff, right? It was a nightmare because there were you guys know during the fall how sometimes I had to appeal to you guys, man, if you guys could really help me to afford the game this week, because I had no money. All my money was going to the bills every month to keep stuff going. That's how bad it was. And in reality, very matter of factly, if you remember 1 month, I can't even remember what month it was. It was probably October or November. I did a special stream where I said I need to do a fundraiser to raise funds, because if I keep these funds going, I can keep my financial obligations and keep a plan on course to keep going the way that I want it to go. And you guys did help me with that, and I did stay on course. I'm about to tell you exactly what that plan was for the first time ever right now on the stream. Okay, so you're finally going to have the whole skinny on what's been going on with me and wondering what the hell was that all about, that random fundraiser he had to do in the fall. You're going to find out right now, okay? But everything I've told you is true. Everything in 2019 I ever told you, whenever I said I was overdrawn on my bank account, 100% truth. When I told you I needed to raise money, whether it was for taxes or something really quickly, it was 100% true. It's just that I didn't feel that it was safe to publicly disclose the information until right now, because right now the gears are in motion and we're at a point where it makes sense. Okay? Now, let's talk. And by the way, I never said the house thing wasn't true, Music Records. You're a fucking idiot. I never said that the condo thing in Connecticut wasn't true at all. Never. Not once. I never even addressed it. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a complete idiot. Okay. So, when all this was going down, all right, I realized I didn't have many, I did not have many options at all. Okay? At all. I realized there's very few. Look at this, all this nonsense, and all these idiots. You guys are all morons. Like, every single person in the stream chat right now is saying, well, you said that wasn't true. The whole story about the foreclosure wasn't true. I never said that at all. You will never find that in a video. You will never find that at all. I'll say the detractors are talking about nonsense, and I'm not gonna address it until I'm ready. But I never once said that thing wasn't true. Not once. I just wasn't ready to talk about it until I had all the information for you, which I now have. Okay? Which I told you many times. I said if I was going to tell you about it, I'm going to tell you about it when I have all the information and it makes sense. In fact, many times over the months, people were asking me what happened to the condo in Connecticut, and I kind of dodged the question because I didn't have all the information. I didn't want to give you a half story of what was going on. So everyone who believed the bullshit, I mean, from those idiots, I mean, yeah, you literally only... You always buy in the nonsense and then you spin it the way you want it. I literally never said that none of that was true, but people took it that I said that because you're just idiots. You probably those guys were the ones who were saying it, and everybody, Phil denied it. No, I didn't. But you just take it as that because they said it. So that's your own fucking fault. Okay? Seriously, that's your own fault. And shame on you for turning this into some kind of a negative thing where it's like a he said, she said, Phil said this, Phil. I didn't. I know for a fact, not once ever on a stream or in a video did I said, no, I'm not getting foreclosed on. No, I don't owe this amount of money. No, that's not happening. I never said that at all. Not once did those words ever come out of my mouth. And if you think they did, you're an idiot. You probably listened to someone else who said I said that, and I never said it. So I guess there's no fucking mods here today. So I guess I have to ban a bunch of people myself. Okay, let's see here. Okay, hold on, because I'm going to get... The thing is, you guys really want me to get to the next part of the story that you don't know about, but I have to take care of trolls first. So the trolls actually inadvertently delayed it. What a bunch of nice idiots. All right. All right. So anyway, now we can move on to the next segment, okay? Because now I think it's calmed down here, okay? All right. So, while all this was going on, behind the scenes, okay, I knew I had to take drastic action. And this is something that I had talked about with my mother when I was in Connecticut. It was something because I talked to my parents every single week, and they said this is something you absolutely have to consider and you might have to actually do, because there's nothing we can do about it. You have to do it. You make a change, and you shouldn't be embarrassed when in life you're defeated in a certain way and you have to make some kind of a change in order to fix it. Because, this is a big loss for me, a big fail for me that I have to do something now that I don't want to do. I never wanted to do in my life, but I have to. So, during that whole summer and early fall, I started looking into options and considering various things. I talked to various people, and there were a couple different options that I could have taken. But basically, eventually, I sat down and I saw a lawyer and talked to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, with your situation, there's really no way out besides declaring bankruptcy. Like, there's no way. How are you going to get out of not only owing all this debt that you have behind the scenes through credit cards and loans, but now you've got a home that you can't pay for and they're going to foreclose on you. Chances are they're going to sue you for the money that you owe. And he's like, looking at your income is inconsistent but good. Like, my income's always been good. The problem is the debts are getting worse because these are all revolving debts. These are credit card debts that are getting bigger and bigger every year because I can't pay them down. It's just getting worse and worse every moment. So basically what ended up happening was I saw a bankruptcy lawyer and we went through a lot of information. It's been a very arduous process, to say the least, okay? Going through so much different stuff. And during, it's hilarious. It really is. During my initial meetings with this bankruptcy lawyer, okay, I basically explained the whole situation of how I got into the situation I'm in. Like, how did you have this amount of income those years and all of a sudden your income went down because of this? And I explained, because trolls and all this. Huh? So I explained, I'm an internet personality. I have people who harass me on a daily basis and totally make shit up and all of that. And they're like, wow, I can't imagine. Now, this is, a lawyer who has no exposure to the whole internet lifestyle of when you're an internet personality, a complete outsider. And just matter-of-factly explaining the facts of the situation of what's going on with me in my daily life. This person is like speechless, flabbergasted. This is what you go through every day? I'm like, yeah. Like, every fucking day of my life, this is what I go through. My wife, gets attacked on a daily basis. It has nothing to do with any of this, okay? It's pretty fucked up. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty fucked up. All this information and all the stuff that happens to me. So anyway, I fully explained to the bankruptcy lawyer up front, chances are anything that could be public on the internet is going to go public, okay? And so I had discussions with the bankruptcy lawyer about how to go about this, how to discuss it, what to publicly reveal, what to not publicly reveal, okay? And essentially, once I had explained to the bankruptcy lawyer everything, they responded in this manner. It sounds to me like no matter what, these people who are after you are so crazy fucking obsessed. Not to say fucking, but they're so crazy obsessed with you, they're going to find everything out anyway. Even though they shouldn't have access to the information that it sounds like they get about you, they're going to end up finding it. For example, a foreclosure, when it happens, when a bank actually goes to sue you for foreclosure, that's a public filing. And even though no normal person would have access to that data or even know where to look, these idiots sound like they will find it because they constantly will go after your information. And if there's someone who literally has no life and just sits there and looks at public filings every day for the name Phil Burnell, they're going to eventually find it. Guess what happened in December, guys? It was like clockwork. It was literally like clockwork. Absolutely like clockwork, where as soon as the bank formally filed for the foreclosure on me for this property in Connecticut, immediately the trolls find it and post it all over the internet, right? It was like the day of. It wasn't even like a delay. So these idiots literally sit there refresh to find this information about me. It's insane. But they found it, okay? Now, I said to the bankruptcy attorney, do you think that I should disclose to my viewers that bankruptcy, that I'm going to be, trying to file for bankruptcy? And they said, well, basically the way it works is it's an arduous process. I needed to get all this information together. Obviously, I had to make a payment to the bankruptcy lawyer to do the work and for the filing and all of that and to make it all happen. And basically they said, it's at your own discretion, but this might be something that you want to be proactive about and nip in the butt publicly first. Be the person to break it to everyone on the internet what's going on with you, rather than just have it be another thing that's going to be sprung. The thing was, we didn't know exactly when the mortgage company was going to foreclose on me. We were waiting. We actually wanted them to do it as soon as possible, because as soon as they foreclose, immediately once they take ownership of the property, I don't owe that condo association in Connecticut any money anymore. I can stop paying them. And in fact, if a foreclosure is going on when a bankruptcy proceeding happens, the bankruptcy proceeding can hold up the foreclosure proceeding significantly. All right? Very significantly. Okay? So the truth of the matter was, there was no perfect time to tell anyone about anything on the internet, because we didn't know how things were going to go, or anything like that. Okay? So for 3 months, guys, behind the scenes, I've been working with a bankruptcy attorney to basically file for bankruptcy, so that primarily the real reason I had to do it is because I'm probably going to get sued or by this mortgage company when they foreclose on this property, which they're doing right now, and they take it away out of my name and they sell it. There's no way they're going to make the $100,000 on the sale that they would make that they need to pay off the mortgage. They're going to probably make 50, 60 grand, and they're going to say I owe them some crazy amount of money, like $40,000, $50,000, that I have no way to pay them. I'm already so bad and behind on debt, I can't fucking make my regular monthly payments on anything. How the hell am I going to afford to pay that, right? So, primarily, the bankruptcy that I'm doing is to protect myself from being sued and losing my house, okay? But in addition to that, I have an exorbitant amount of debt in my name from all the stuff from the move out here and everything. And again, for years, trying to juggle all that debt and make it work, and never worked, because the trolls would never leave me alone. They always found a way to consistently fuck with my income over and over and over the years. And I never got level again. And then when I thought I would get level, oh, your tax attorney fucked you over in Connecticut. Now you owe thousands of dollars to the state of Washington. Then because of that, now I'm behind on my federal taxes. It was just a never-ending wave after wave after wave of stuff that fucked me over financially. I could never get back to being square. So, because of all of that, okay? Because of all of that, all right? Bankruptcy is like the only solution, okay? So, I've been working essentially since the late summer of 2019, but really I didn't start serious talks until the fall on bankruptcy, so that I can not get completely monstrously destroyed and lose my home and all of that stuff, okay? The good news here is, from what the bankruptcy attorney has told me, if I qualify for the bankruptcy, which apparently I very much do, like once looking at all the facts, it's like, holy shit, yes, you qualify for this. I'm going to keep my house, okay? And basically the mortgage, whatever's going to happen with that place in Connecticut happens, and I'm not responsible for it anymore. It gets out of my name, and that's the end of that, and I won't be able to get sued for whatever the deficit is or whatever. I'll be completely exonerated from that. In addition, it's looking like one of two options is going to happen. It's not clear what's going to happen yet. Either all of my existing unsecured debt is going to get wiped out and go to zero, but my credit will be utterly destroyed for a decade. Meaning I will never be able to get a loan. I will never have a credit card, nothing, no credit whatsoever for a decade. Essentially, it's getting destroyed. And then in a decade, I start at ground zero, like starting over. Or they're going to put me on what's considered a payment plan. Meaning they're going to say, okay, you owe this amount of money, and we're going to put you on a plan that you pay a certain amount of money for the rest of your life, essentially, until it's paid off. But this money is based on how much money you make and how much money you owe in taxes and stuff. So basically what they would do is say, okay, you make this much money, you pay your utilities, you pay, this, that, all that. Then you pay your taxes. After you've paid all the essentials that are important, then we figure out what you have left, and that's what we figure out would be going to the debts that you owe, okay? Now, it's not 100% sure at all what's going to happen here, at all. It could go one way, it could go the other. I don't know which one would be better. Either way, it screws me over. And essentially what this does, okay, is it puts me at a position where I have absolutely nothing to fall back on. So, for example, let's say this bankruptcy goes through, which it looks like it's going to. I get really sick, right? For some reason, I get really sick and I have to go to the doctor. And I go to the doctor, I end up in the hospital or needing treatments or whatever. And I get insane medical bills. I can't get a loan. There's no credit card. There's no way I can pay for it. And I'm fucked. Okay? Or, anything, basically anything comes up. Something blows up in my house and now I need to afford an appliance or something. I don't have money for it, right? Like, that's pretty much what it comes down to, is that I'm now seriously at the point where, because I have to do this, that's going to be my life for the next 10 years, And it's funny because idiots, okay, will spin stuff, okay? Idiots will spin stuff that, in regards to, what's going on with this, they'll say, well, if Phil declares bankruptcy, that means he doesn't owe anything to anyone. So, see, Phil won't need any more contributions on streams, and Phil won't need any support from his fans any longer. If he says that he needs help, he's lying to you. That is 100% ignorance about how bankruptcy works. It's actually completely the opposite situation. I need your support more than ever before, because whatever I make, it has to go towards the direct bills, taxes. I owe a ton of back taxes right now. This month, I'm trying to make a payment to catch up on state taxes. And then I have to figure out, how the hell do I pay my federal taxes that I did not pay last year again? And chances are, I would almost guarantee, they're probably not going to put me on another payment plan. I would think they might put a lien on my house, or they might do so. I don't know what they're going to do. It's a bad situation. And even with the bankruptcy going through, I'm not clear because of tax situation. I'm behind on everything. I need to catch up on everything that I'm behind on before I can even consider, I'm square, okay? So the truth of the matter is that chances are, if this does go through, I'm going to lose a lot of the stuff in the house that I don't need. For example, all those statues and shit that I've got in the storage nook? I give all that up. I say, this might be worth something if you sell it. I don't need it. It's not something I actively use. It's not an appliance that I need to live. Here's a bunch of shit that I don't need. Take it. Take all this junk that's been sitting around that I haven't been able to sell for years. Please, by all means. And the thing is, there's not much in my house that they could do. Most of the stuff that's valuable is in this office for the business. That's protected under bankruptcy filing. It's really only the things that are considered superfluous, like collections, jewelry, that kind of shit, that they can actually take in a bankruptcy filing, that kind of stuff. So they're basically, outline the stuff that's in the house, give them a list of everything here, and they're going to take and sell, stuff that they can. So yeah, stuff in my house is going to end up probably getting sold off. More than likely, the shit over there in the storage nook that I don't want and don't need is going to get sold. And more than likely other stuff, I don't know to what extent they're going to take. They're not going to take stuff like your bed. You know what I mean? And they're not going to take your basic appliances, but they're going to probably take certain things. And that's how it is. Okay, that's just how it is when you declare bankruptcy. Now, why am I telling you this publicly? Well, first of all, I want to have full disclosure to all you guys. All right, I want you to know what's going on. This is what I've been going through for the last year behind the scenes and not told you guys at all, because I didn't want to, weigh you guys down by all this negative shit. I didn't feel that it wasn't anything that should be a part of a gameplay stream at all. You know what I mean? And in my regards, like, the thing is, when you declare bankruptcy, it's public, but it's only public in like a public filing somewhere where you file and stuff like that. But the thing is, I already knew the foreclosure was going to go public. And with the foreclosure going public, you knew that people were going to constantly be searching online for people declaring bankruptcy in Washington State and look for my name constantly every day. So I figured it would make more sense to be more transparent with you guys and be proactive and tell you guys up front about all of this, so you guys understand everything that's going on. You know what I mean? That's the deal. Okay, guys? I don't even know what this idiot's talking about, so I'm going to ban them. I have more to talk about, but I have to now ban more idiot trolls. Okay? Oh my god, these idiots. I'm taking care of these guys. Okay. All right, I think I got rid of most of them. There's a few others left over, but what can you do? I can't take care of all of them now. All right. So, that's the truth of the matter, all right? Is that I'm in the process of bankruptcy. I don't know the whole situation, how it's going to go down. It's already in process. It's going. Eventually, it's going to be public because you're going to see the information on the internet public. Well, not on the internet. Apparently, it's some kind of a filing area or whatever. But these trolls will find it. You know what I mean? If they found the foreclosure in Connecticut, that they're sitting there refreshing every day looking for lawsuits in Connecticut, and they find my name, they're definitely going to find out about the bankruptcy. So that's why I had to talk about this. My bankruptcy attorney actually advised me to talk about it publicly with you guys first and said you should be the one to tell everyone and be honest with them up front about what's going on rather than have someone else spring the news, okay? So, that's the truth of the matter, guys. And hold on a second. Here's some more. Oh, my God. Here we go. Okay, looks like we're okay now. Jesus Christ. All right, so the good news is, with what's going on right now, all right, here's the truth of the matter. The good news is, the stuff that's essential will be protected. My house is protected. Everything I need for the business in here is protected. All my stuff in the house, like appliances, basic stuff like that, should be protected. It's only things that are considered superfluous things, like the crazy amount of stuff in my storage nook that I don't need, that kind of stuff, okay? So there you go. That's the kind of stuff that maybe is up for grabs. Maybe some others, I don't know. Like, are they going to try to take my worn out 6-year-old couch that's now has, indentations and has been lived on? They could potentially, but if they take my couch, I don't know how I sit anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know the extent of what's going to actually happen with this bankruptcy. We haven't gotten to that far yet. We're to the point where we're trying to determine exactly what kind of bankruptcy it's going to be and go from there and all that stuff. So it is what it is, but it's going through now. It's a process that takes a few months. Chances are it probably won't be official until, like the spring. But, this is basically going to get to a point where now, here's what I need to worry about stuff. I need to worry about paying the utilities, paying the, taxes, all my other ongoing obligations, like, for example, my car loan doesn't get wiped. I'm keeping my car, so my car loan I have to keep paying, stuff like that. Obviously, the mortgage on this house I have to keep paying properly. The cost of everything for the business, so the cost of internet, games, and all that I have to keep paying. And then on top of that, find a way to pay the taxes properly, because I'm so behind on taxes. That has to be like my main focus. Is once all the other debts are wiped out, the condo in Connecticut's wiped out, the credit cards, the loans, all of those are gone, and my credit's completely ruined, which it will be for about 10 years. All right. Then I would have to catch up on these taxes. All right. So that's the deal. That's the deal. And we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to talk about this too frequently past today's podcast because I don't see the point to doing it, talking about that frequently at all. But the thing that sucks about this is something that obviously I would have wanted to fix myself. Over the years, remember, I kept talking about, I want to refinance the house. Because the truth of the matter is this house has equity in it. But because I have so much debt in my name, no one will refinance my house. I have equity that you could have taken all that unsecured debt and put it into the house. The mortgage payment would have gone up a couple $100s a month, and I wouldn't have had all those crazy unsecured debts anymore, and I would have had all the money I need to pay taxes and do everything I need. But no one would refinance the house because I had so much debt in my name. So that was a thing that I tried for 2 straight years. I kept trying, and it was always off the table for me, and I could never do it, which really sucks. The good news is I keep the house, I keep the business, I keep most of, if not all, the essentials. I mean, yeah, I might lose some stuff in the house that I don't fucking care about or need. I might lose some things that I like. I mean, what can I do, right? They're going to take what they take. And that's the truth is, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it could be, It's not as bad as it could possibly be at all. Um, so, that's what's going on with me. Now, again, I strongly urge all of you, moving forward, stop fucking listening to the nonsense from the people who spin it in a way that it's not true. Because I'm filing for bankruptcy, or I have filed for bankruptcy, doesn't mean that I now have unlimited fun. I have no debts and unlimited funds, and I'm good. Like, what needs to happen? I need to basically get the same kind of support I've been getting on streams or better, and then what I can do is work on putting that money towards the right stuff, like getting out of the debt that I'm in with these taxes, getting these taxes paid to the point where I can pay my taxes properly every month like I'm supposed to be doing, and basically getting back on track. The good news here is, if this works out the way that the bankruptcy attorney is explaining to me, all right, by the middle to late 2020, I should be able to get back on track, hopefully start getting caught up with the taxes, and then instead of it always being, oh my God, now I'm overdrawn or this and that, everything's okay in that regard. And, you know, maybe even start turning stuff around in a positive way, you know. People always ask, can you upgrade your equipment? Can you do this or that? No, there's no fucking way I could do that now. But give it a year. If all the debts are wiped out and I'm caught up on my taxes and everything's good, things could potentially get better again, you know? And then when we do a special stream and I raise a bunch of money out of nowhere, wow, I could put that towards something positive on the streams rather than, wow, that has to go pay a back debtor that I've owed for months. Oh, and in particular, okay, that stream that I did, I think it was in November. It was a special stream I did to raise some funds, and it was for an emergency. I told you guys I really need to catch up with a financial obligation to keep me on pace. That obligation was I needed to pay my mortgage. That month, I was so overdrawn on everything, I couldn't even pay my fucking mortgage here. And I was told by my bankruptcy attorney, you need to stay current on your mortgage on your house. If you don't, and then we file, it could screw everything up. You need to get caught up on that mortgage so that now everything's good and you can stay on pace for the bankruptcy and nothing will get screwed up. So that's actually what that was for. I had to catch up on the mortgage in order to stay on pace to file for the bankruptcy. Okay? So that's what's going on with me. My hope is that everything goes through fine. All right? One or the two bankruptcies I qualify for, whichever, who cares? Doesn't matter, right? Either one is fine in my opinion. And whatever I qualify for works. And now, say within 1-2 years, yeah, it's going to be tight financially. It already is. But we'll say within 1-2 years, now I can basically get myself on pace for that plan I talked about with my mother when I went to Connecticut. The plan was that I was going to eventually phase out of full-time being a streamer. If I don't have exorbitant debts to the point where I have to make a lot of money on stream to pay all those exorbitant debts, if I can make a little bit less money streaming, I can have time now to try to seek out a part-time job and have employment in person and also online and split the time between the two. And then eventually maybe I could flip it so then I have the job half and the streaming half. You see what I mean? That would be kind of, I don't want to say it's an escape plan because I'm not looking to go anywhere. I love streaming. But everyone knows there's no way I can continue to do this full time for the rest of my life. But there was no way. There was absolutely no way that I was going to be able to quit streaming and find another job that was going to pay enough money to pay all these debts that I had. That was the problem. The condo in Connecticut, the credit cards, the loans. I had so much exorbitant debt in my name. There was no way I was going to get a part-time job and not stream and somehow make enough money to pay all the debts. I was going to get completely, utterly destroyed. So now, if this goes through the bankruptcy and everything goes well, then that means give it a few years. But once I'm caught up on the taxes and everything's level, now I can look to actually do those things, okay? But I couldn't do it until this happened, all right? Fair enough? All right. So that is the deal, guys. Now, what I'd like to do is take a very short break. And when we come back in a very short break here, like 10 minutes or whatever, I'm going to tell you about my plans for 2020. We're going to go through the game release list for 2020. I'm going to tell you what games I'm interested in playing, and we're going to go from there. But what I'd like to do is a bunch of shout-outs, all right? But, of course, at the same time that I'm doing those shout-outs, there's a bunch of troll contributions as well, so I'm going to be skipping a ton of them. Let's see here. I'm trying to find it. Okay. So, H Factor, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, H Factor. Old Yeller for the win, subscribe. Thank you, Old Yeller for the win. Last Rambo, cheers. I understand that the health and taxes. What if you finished paying your mortgage before moving to Washington. I mean, it was a 30-year mortgage, dude. I would have had to live in Connecticut till I was like 57 or something crazy in order to do that. So that's not possible, okay? Third tier says, when you go from full-time to part-time streaming because you have a real job, what is going to stop trolls from fucking with that new job? Thing is, I don't know. What I would have to do potentially is go into the new job, they interview me, and I tell them, here's the deal. This is what I've done for 10, 15, 20, however long, many years I've done it by then. There's an internet following that harasses me. So as long as we can keep my information off the internet, we should be all right. But, you're right. It might be a situation where things get screwed up. I don't know. Third eye, I couldn't tell you. These people are so insane and malicious. They've told me for years, get a real job, stop streaming. If I did it, they'd probably go harass me at the real job. So I don't know. That's something that you tackle when you get to it, right? I couldn't tell you what's going to happen when I finally get to that road. Zorro back subscribed. Thank you, Zorro back. Hot Stuff Chris resubscribed for 38 months. Thank you for that. Hold on a second. Old Yeller cheered. He says, kick the trolls to the curb. They're making the stream unwatchable. I'm aware, and the thing is, I don't know what happened. There were mods here before. Don't ask me where the hell they went, but I knew this was going to happen during the stream. They're in the stream chat being dickheads. What can you do, right? Okay. Let's see here. This. Boss Hog did 100 bits here. I'm not saying you're lying, but we want all official documentation about everything you're saying. First of all, the foreclosure is already public. The bankruptcy filing will be public. And there's no other documentation you need. Anything that you're asking for would actually put myself at risk by putting my own private information out there. So it's impossible, and you're an idiot for even asking for it. Old Yeller cheered again. Thank you, Old Yeller. PW dubs to me $1, and I'm probably ignorant about the situation. Could you just hide your statues and things, like bury them underground? Oh my God, couldn't I bury my statues underground? Man. You might have taken the cake for this stream. You might have actually taken the cake with what you just said. No, because the thing is, I'm not an idiot. Everyone knows from videos that I put on the internet years ago what I kind of have in this house. I'm talking about it publicly on the internet right now, right? So obviously people know what's in the house. They know that I have worn out stuff that I bought 6 years ago when I moved here. I have collectibles that have been sitting in people know what's in the house. So, no, I'm not going to try to break the law and hide the shit. It's insanely ludicrous. No, it's really, really silly. Oh my God. Becky tipped me $1, asked, who's my best friend right now? My wife is. My wife is my best friend, as well as my significant other. Thank you for the $1 tip. Let's see here. So, Man in Love tipped me $1, says, it's me, the man in love. I hope eventually you get out of the money issue. I can't imagine having to deal with all that. I got a student loan, another loan I stupidly took out for a girl, credit cards, an old IRS bill that's giving me a headache. Then he tipped me another $1, and he says, I don't even like the little money issue I have. If I had a money issue like yours, I'd go crazy, depressed, and say screw everything. Praise for going through all of that. Straight Cash Homie did a $20 tip. He says, sorry to hear about your bankruptcy. You've still been delivering awesome content, and we have your back. Are you hyped for Resident Evil 3 Remake, and will you stream it? Am I hyped for it? Yes. Am I insanely hyped for it? No. I like Resident Evil 2 way more than 3, but I'm still excited to be playing another survival horror game because they did a really good job at Resident Evil 2. Yes, of course, I'll be streaming it. Thank you very much for the contribution. Okay. All right, a nerd tipped me $1, says, according to my calculations, you have 3,456 viewers. I wouldn't be surprised, considering the fact that it's not just people on my channels, but all the illegal restreamers as well. Let's see here. Spartan King cheered. He said, you almost have 1,000 viewers. What's up? I think you know. It's a podcast talking about private stuff, so immediately people freak out about it, right? Jerk Store took me $25. He said, Donald Trump filed for bankruptcy 6 times. I have a feeling you'll land on your feet. I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that this is this. Some people would look at this as this is defeat. This is a crushing loss, And, you know, that's the end. For me, I see this, if it goes through and it works well, which I hope it does, as this is actually a way to start over fresh, a new, fresh life with my wife, where it's all about staying on pace with everything that it's not about the debts of my past. It's not about the fuck ups of my past. It's about moving forward positively to the future and, you know, being better with money and being more responsible and not overspending and living up to my responsibilities to the federal government and stuff with the taxes and everything, and basically doing everything I can right, moving forward. That's kind of how I see it, is going square one and not having to go to sleep at night wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. Am I going to be able to raise enough money to pay my bills, and having these horrible feelings in the back of my head that everything's going to get lost, I'm going to lose my house and everything. Not having those feelings would be amazing. Okay? So thank you very much, Jerk Store, for that $25 tip. Good Game Goblin tipped me $1. If the bank takes your couch, will you sign it to add more value? So what I mean, like, stuff like that, they're not going to want. That's a couch, 6-year-old couch that's indented, probably smells. You know, that has no resale value. Versus pristine collectibles that I've kept in their boxes, stored in my Nook, they're probably going to want, and they're probably going to sell those for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So they're definitely going to want that shit, you know. From what my bankruptcy attorney told me, I shouldn't worry too much about the basic stuff. It's really not that stuff they're going to go after. Yes, they might take a few things here and there in the house, but it's not going to be like they come and they clear the fucking house out of everything that I need. Now I can't even cook dinner because they took the stove. You know what I mean? What the hell? In ever failed Amishin. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the sub. That is a really hard name to pronounce. I get the feeling you should capital letters there that I'm not seeing. Okay? Boss Hog did a 50-bit cheer and asked a really stupid question, but I'll still address it. This is a serious question. If you're having money issues, why don't you downgrade from your gated community house to an apartment? Okay, I'll answer this. Two reasons why. Actually, 3 reasons why. Number 1, this is my established house with my business in it. I work out of this room. This is established how my business works. To move would disrupt the business. It would actually mean weeks to months of disrupted income where I couldn't pay my financial obligations, including anything I owe in this bankruptcy or back taxes. So actually moving from this home to another home is a disruptive procedure that would screw everything up and take things off pace. It doesn't make sense. Number 2, if I were to move to an apartment, I need to have a credit check. My credit is in shambles. No one's going to want me in their apartment when my credit is awful. So that's number 2. Number 3, most apartments cost about as much as what I pay for this house. I'm not exaggerating there or whatever. The payment that I make on this home a month is about what I would pay if I had an apartment in this area. No exaggeration or lie. So there would be no savings at all. All that I would make is whatever the equity is in my house. When I sell it, I'd have a little bit of money, and that would maybe help a little bit, but it would be instantaneously destroyed. I would have nothing else building when I move to an apartment. Basically, there's like multiple reasons it makes no fucking logical sense. And idiots that just say, just move, just sell your house, you're morons. Like the first thing, when I sat down with the bankruptcy attorney, I said, there's all these reasons why I think that selling the house or losing the house, selling the house would not work. And the bankruptcy attorney was like, I'm 100% in agreement with you. If this is the kind of business you have and whatever, you can't not work. He's like, if you don't work for weeks to months to move, that's completely counterproductive to what we're trying to do here, setting up. And no one's going to tell you to do that. You know what I mean? So the house is going to end up being protected. It's going to be okay. What the? Big Boy Whomper did a $5 tip. Says, can I have your passport number for research? First of all, I used to have a passport. It expired many years ago, and I doubt that the passport number is any good. Secondly, no, I'm not going to show you my private information. That'd be pretty stupid, wouldn't it? It's going to be $211, by the way. Thank you, everyone, for your support today. Let's see here. Volgnar just did a 100-bit cheer and says, I know all too well the debt and the stresses that come with it. After recovering from my heart attack 8 months back, wow, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I hope you're feeling better. I had to move back to my parents' place when I lost my place. Having a dead-end job where the only way I was going was pretty much out the door did not do me a great deal of good. Don't let this stress get you out. All I can say, hopefully you got a solid plan for 2020. That's what I'm working on, right? The thing is, this won't affect the streams at all. We should be fine. It's just all this behind-the-scenes crap that's stressing me out, and now you guys actually know what it is. You can imagine, right? You can imagine the shit I've been going through. So, Battle Duck 9000 to me $2.99. She says, you deserve a fresh start with all the ongoing shit you've been dealing with. Jeez. Thank you, Battle Duck. I agree. I need a break is what I need. What I really need is a nice break. Good game, Goblin tipped me $1. Do you think the bank will seize the elephant? That's the first thing the bank will seize, dude. When they see that elephant, they're going straight for it, dude. Okay. Oh, oops. Okay. Thank you very much. Darkside Chris tipped me $10. Says, I, for one, will do my best to support you when I can. Always enjoy your content. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Darkside Chris. I appreciate that, man. And, let's see here. PW Dubs tipped me $1. Says, what kind of cake do I get? I was just joking. I don't even know what you're referencing anymore, but thank you for the $1 tip. Let's see. Frogs Playing Golf Cheers says, will they take the TVs, PlayStation, Xbox, computers? Does it not work like that? Anything that's in this office is protected. This is my workplace, and anything that I actively use for work is 100% protected. It's unclear if they would, like, for example, the TV downstairs is a 5.5, 6-year-old TV. If I were to resell that TV, I would probably, who would buy that TV? You could go buy a TV for $100 that's 10 times better than that TV now. So I don't know, I guess it's all up to the bankruptcy attorney to figure this out. Maybe they would want it. I don't know. If they take it, they'd have to rip it off the wall. It's mounted to the wall. You know what I mean? I guess I'd have to find an El Cheapo TV. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? I have no idea. But from the way it was explained to me is that it's essentially what they do is they look they want to know what things are superfluous. Collections, jewelry, excessive clothing lines and shoes, stuff like that. That's in my name, by the way. It's not my wife's. It's just my stuff in my name. That is, excessive, that basically they can sell to make money. Now that's only with one of the two kinds of bankruptcy too, and I don't know what kind of bankruptcy I'm going to qualify for. So, see what I mean? We'll see. Fair enough. Okay. All right, guys. So, let's take a break. All right. When I come back from the break, it's the final session of the stream, and what we're going to be doing is talking about my ideas for 2020. We're also going to be talking about the game release schedule for 2020, so you guys have a rough idea of the games I'll be covering this year. And then we're just going to have a very, probably end of the stream brief Q&A session. It looks like we'll probably adjourn about the usual time, around 4 p.m. Okay? All right, guys? All right, thanks. I will see you in just a bit. Thank you very much.